The NASCAR In-Season Challenge rolls on. We update the brackets and make some best bets for round 2 next, right here on the Backroad.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
Die-casting NASCAR fans out there, let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Backroad. Yeah, we're jamming, man. The in-season challenge is back in full swing, and we're here to talk about how round 1 went at Sonoma and what we're looking for on round 2 at Chicagoland.
Vibes are high, Elliot. They shouldn't be because lost 2 of my outrights last week. Bracket absolutely in shambles. 0-2 in the in-season matchups as well, but still back with a smile on my face, baby, because it's the 250th anniversary of this great freaking nation that lets us watch NASCAR racing. Oh, just about 38, 40 weeks out of the year, my friend.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have some fun plans for your Independence Day weekend. Great weekend for the country and a great weekend for NASCAR as well. Tonight, it's kind of a hybrid in the rear view horizon forecast, but we're still going to stick with the horizon forecast because primarily we're looking ahead. We're going to tell you how round 1 went and the matchups to watch in round 2, give you the live odds, bets we're on, things like that. And then we'll put our money where our mouth is. I've got a couple of bets that I've added to the card in the parking garage props. The in-season challenge rolling on. The best way to support us, thank you for taking the time out to watch. Hopefully you know, like I said, our brackets weren't perfect. There are no perfect brackets left, as I'll touch on. But hopefully you were able to make a little coin off of us, and just grateful that you're watching is where I'm leading to. And hopefully you support us. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, man, Seth, just grateful for the IBT Racing family, whether they're in the IBT Racing family or just hanging out here with us on the YouTube.
Yeah, we appreciate, man. We've made the jump from, doing a bunch of different types of content on this particular channel to just give you racing content all the time. You've been doing a great job leading some of our short video initiative as well. So make sure you guys are checking all that content out. But excited to keep it rolling here and excited to keep her going. Hopefully make a little money back that I already lost on the in-season challenge.
Yeah, man, lost a couple outrights, gaining a couple more. We'll see how it looks. Let's break down how things went and how things are looking in the horizon forecast. So, of course, NASCAR running their own bracket challenge contest. There are no perfect brackets left, goose egg. And out of 75,000 plus entries, 164 picked 15 out of 16 matchups correctly.
Crazy.
And the one that a lot of people were not expecting, even the insane Bowman guy did not think that Bowman had a chance to beat Tyler Reddick. Not only was it a good day for the 48 running 10th, might have been able to contend with Reddick, but Tyler Reddick, unfortunately, mechanical issues with the power steering. They held on pit road for a few laps to fix it, and he never was able to get back out of last place. So once again, the number 1 seed is out in the first round. Alex Bowman advancing to face the number 16 seed Austin Cindric, who was able to beat Brad Keselowski. Then the other matchup here, you have Todd Gilliland overcoming Daniel Suarez. Suarez is one of our potential deep runs and had some issues there that he was not able to recover from. And then Carson Hocevar versus Zane Smith. We were kind of on the Zane Smith train. He was one of the ones that I had money on, Smith over Hocevar. Hocevar had a solid day, and Zane Smith, it just really was not a good day for him. So the front row car to advance, we expected Smith, but it's Gilliland to go up against Hocevar this weekend at Chicagoland. Bowman versus Cindric. Let's start with, I'll give you the opportunity to talk about the 4 matchups that happened at Sonoma before we advance.
Yeah, I guess we should have saw the Bowman one coming. Tyler Reddick really unloaded, not very good on Saturday, never had the speed, and then got into that trouble and had those issues on Sunday, so that stinks. Cindric versus Brad, it was one of the closest matchups on the books. It was one of the closest matchups all day. Brad with top 20 runs, same with Cindy there. And Suarez, I mean, just killed right off the rip there. No shot at all. That was such a bummer for a guy that I had a nice long outright on. I had going all the way to the finals. I thought it set up for him really nicely if he could get out of Sonoma, a place he had won. But he's had trouble there the last couple of years, no matter what. And then, Zane didn't bring it, right? Like Carson Hocevar actually had a consistent road course day for once. I don't think he got inside the top 10, but it was maybe P11, P12.
I think he was 11th. So
yeah, so it was all right. He faded, quicker than hell. Right off, he gets out on there on the front row, and then all of a sudden it's like an anchor going right back to the back. But overall, this was like the mayhem part of the bracket, and I think we should have saw that coming because we got a couple of upsets here, and then one of the upsets we thought might happen did not.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And it's tough. You had Suarez making a deep run. He gets knocked out. I had Zane Smith making a really deep run too. He gets knocked out as well. We'll talk about Gil and Hocevar in a minute, but we have to start with the upset of the week. Alex Bowman, he is -125. He's the favorite in this matchup on BetMGM. Austin Cindric is -110 as the 16 seed. And this is one of those two. I have the MGM odds, but now most of the books, they do have the full odds up for each of the matchups. And it's worth shopping around because we were able to find Bowman at even money. I found him at Bet365, and I am taking the 48 in this matchup. The Ford's not super great on this type of track. Cindric especially has not been super duper impressive. If there's a Ford and an intermediate, your top three have been Blaney, Buescher, and Zane Smith. Cindric is one of those guys that's just kind of there. And I know for Bowman, he's also just been kind of there. But they're able to get some momentum back, get the top 10, have something go right, and advance in the in-season challenge. They were able to make it a couple of rounds last year. And for the 48 Chicagoland, got a lot of faith there. He's the defending winner of this race. Granted, that was in 2019. But the mile and a halves have been probably the bright spot for the 48. And I think it's a situation where now he can make a little bit of a run. Atlanta had a really good P3 last year at Echo Park. Chicagoland very well could be solid for him and for Hendrick Motorsports, as we talked about in the main show. So that's the first spot. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Again, shocker, but even money on the 48 for an even matchup. You don't have to pull my leg too much to convince me of that one.
Yeah, I've seen him as a dog in some place, and I've also seen him as the favorite. But at even money, like I do lean that way. This is actually one of the ones I would consider betting this week for sure. And basically, the hard part about getting actual coin down on it, although I lean that way, is both them, bottom 10 in average running position, in average finish over the last couple races, right? Like the last 6 coming in. So you don't love that. But the thing that Bowman just has way better of an edge on is he's been good on intermediate, specifically these primary comp tracks this week that we're going to see in Chicagoland. We talked more about it on the full Backroad, but those are tracks like Vegas, Charlotte, Kansas, right? So those are the tracks where he really has been good at. You look at even average finish on primary comps this season alone, Bowman's 7th in that metric, right? Austin Cindric all the way down, a lot further than that, 13th worst. So I guess that'd be 26. It's just not, 23rd. So hasn't really been there for him. Average qualifying for Cindric too. He's bottom 2. This guy has not been good on this style of track this season. However, he it is running better than the finishes and the starts would dictate, right? So that's, I lean Bowman too, but I don't know if I will quite have the gumption to get down on him. But if you want it, I'd probably take it early because Cindric probably not going to qualify well.
The other matchup here, Gilliland and Hocevar. It's almost kind of the same as last week if you're looking at Hocevar, who is the favorite here at -500, Gilliland at +300. Again, these odds coming from BetMGM. You're going to need Hocevar to step on it, right? And have some sort of mechanical issue or some sort of, getting dumped or dumping somebody and getting damage or whatever. Because, especially with front row, Gregson has been worse, but Gilliland extraordinarily inconsistent. If you had this Hocevar-Smith matchup this week, I'd, again, be more inclined to lean Zane Smith because he's, had some really impressive speed on the ovals as of late. It just hasn't been there for Gilliland. So, of course, it's unbettable, but I got to lean Hocevar here for sure.
Yeah, total speed rankings at comps this year for Todd Gilliland, 4th worst, 5th worst total speed rankings, going back to last year as well, factoring that in. Driver rating at comp tracks this season, 6th worst. average running position, fourth worst. Like Todd Gilliland's been bad on this style of track. And I actually thought like, hey, maybe Todd Gilliland, maybe he's that underdog, that Cinderella story we want, but not with those stats going against Carson Hocevar. Like hasn't been great on the finishes. Maybe something happens. He gets in a scrap, right? Because you look at him also 26 in average comp finish this season at those primary tracks, but like he's running good, right? He's just not getting the finishes. So anything could happen, but it's like you said, you're hoping for a little mayhem, hoping he steps on it.
I don't have the number in front of me, but this could be a time if you're really liking Hocevar to maybe invest in the outright here or throw some money on him, because whether he faces the 48 or the 2 at Atlanta, if he can advance, we know it's going to be kind of in his ballpark. And
yeah,
I mean, you can't move somebody to super speedway, but it'll be something where he's going to fight hard to beat whoever advances if he's able to advance. So Hocevar, one of those guys that you could be looking at if he's able to make it past Todd Gilliland. Again, we think that should be pretty easy. All right, so there is the top left or the Northwest region. Now the bottom left, the good old Southwest region. The Joe Gibbs matchup that we thought maybe had potential for the upsets for them to not face off against each other. It ended up happening kind of how we should have expected it played out. I know we had some looks at Allmendinger and you had the Austin Dillon outright, but no surprise that the 19 and the 54 were able to advance over the 16 and the 3. Despite the hope we might have had, I mean, Allmendinger apparently ran most of the race on a broken toe link or a bent toe link, so that really doesn't help. But, I mean, like I said, this is probably what we should have expected.
Yeah, I mean, it is, right? Like Dinger goes out, qualifies well. I think he was 6th in qualifying, goes out there, has a good start to the race, and then just eventually gets off strategy. Apparently had some type of toe link, and that's the issue with betting on colleague, right? And I freaking knew it, and I try to not bet Dinger, but then he had been top 10 in every single road course on the year, so I was like, oh, it's time to bet AJ Allmendinger, and then he burns you. So that certainly stinks, right? But it was a really strong day from Briscoe too, a guy who just continues to show up out there in wine country. And I try to fade Ty Gibbs a little bit too, just because like Sonoma traditionally his worst road course by far, right? And Austin Dillon, honestly, that's usually one of his better ones. Well, it was flip-flopped. Austin Dillon, 27th, wasn't running well all day. And Ty Gibbs has speed, runs 30-plus laps in the lead, wins both stages, finishes 3rd on the day. So totally my bad on those for missing that. I think it was just, hoping on a women and a prayer, and the women and the prayer did not deliver.
Yeah, the Dillon one I could have climbed you a little more on potentially. Allmendinger, the thing is, he could have had a lights-out day. He could have run 3rd and still lost this matchup because Chase Briscoe was right on SVG's heels. The other matchup pretty much went chalk as well as we expected. As good as Bubba Wallace has been on the road courses, and I had the number on him. It was like a plus 260 or something to beat McDowell. It all ends at some point, and McDowell had the day he needed. Bubba Wallace did not. And Chase Elliott over Noah Gragson was the easiest matchup on the bracket. So no surprise they ended up winning there and matching up against each other at Chicagoland. The numbers here pretty even on the 19 and the 54. Briscoe is minus 120. He's the favorite. Gibbs is minus 110. For me, it's a no bet because it could be a situation where they both run, 3rd and 5th, and I don't know which one is going to run 3rd or 5th. McDowell, Chase Elliott, a little different. McDowell has been the 3rd of 3 at Spire. Hocevar, I could talk myself into a really good run. Same with Suarez. With how good Chase has been, though, winning Texas, having the Hendrick speed that we're seeing continue to build and build, they got to be feeling good heading into here. And again, even if McDowell has a great day, I don't see him beating the 9. The 9 is minus 475. 71 is plus 310 on BetMGM. For me, it's the 9, and it's a no bet here on the 19 and the 54 as well.
Yeah, like gun to the head, I guess I'll take Ty Gibbs, but like this one's so close, right? Like our projections have it Chase Briscoe just a little bit over Ty Gibbs, but they're within 2 IBT grade percentage points. So I don't want to get invested there. I will take Gibbs for a little higher on him this weekend. I think he has a little bit more race winning speed some weeks, but Briscoe's coming on, man, right? Like Briscoe is coming on all of a sudden. And, I think it'll be a really interesting potential quarterfinals matchup between whoever gets out of Briscoe and Gibbs to take on Chase Elliott here, because this was a guy like, if he kept it together, he had a good shot to get into a deep run with the McDowell and Gragson start. And like I told you last week too, like Gragson versus Chase, like of course Gragson ran like dog. So 32nd on the day. But Chase Elliott, not good either. 17th. Like if he went up against Dinger, see you later. If he went up against Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain, Cindric, like he was done. So like he got really fortunate that he got a really good draw there to start out with Noah Gragson there on a road course.
Well, and that's why you want to be high in points, because you're going to face the guys
Yeah.
that are low in points. It doesn't always help you, though, as we move into the top right northeast region of the bracket here, because we came pretty close to the generational upset once again. Ty Dillon was outrunning Denny Hamlin, especially after Hamlin got spun by one of those classic road course stack-ups. And it looked for a hot minute like Ty Dillon was pulling off the upset again. He ends up having issues as well. Damn Colleague really didn't help him out.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin ends up making it through. Eric Jones and Logano ran close all day. And I added a Logano 22-1 outright, put a little sprinkle on it, and it immediately was wiped out because Jones, I think it was only one spot, maybe 2 spots ahead. But good on Jones after an abysmal run at San Diego to run well enough to get by Logano, who didn't have that awful of a day either. Makes sense here on the lower side of this as well. Chris Buescher did not have a Chris Buescher on a road course type of day. He was bad, but John Hunter Nemechek was worse, so the 17 advances. Christopher Bell over Ross Chastain. We were kind of fading Bell here, but Chastain on road courses, not as good as it used to be. Bell ends up advances, making the matchup of the Chris as well as the 11 and the 43. We'll start on the top here with Hamlin versus Jones. Denny Hamlin, I think this is the longest odds we have. Minus 550, shortest odds we have, as the 2 seed to beat Eric Jones, plus 360. And it's tough because this is a really good number for Jones at plus 360.
Yeah.
If Hamlin wasn't literally like the best car here and the favorite to win the race.
That's the issue, right? And you know Denny Hamlin cares too. And you know that, like, yeah, I like it. Like, you had an Eric Jones top 10 bet on the regular show this week, and like I'm in full support of that. Like, he's running so good that he actually was not terrible on a road course last week, right? He went out, he got a couple stage points early in that one, decide to, not short pit like everyone else did. And then he just sucked it up, and he eventually beats Logano by 23rd versus 24th. So you love the spirit there. But Denny Hamlin's just been running so solid. And even last week before spinning, like, he was a top 10 car at times, right? So he's another one who kind of survived that road course mayhem, came out still on top of what expectations were. So there's just no fading him. And I really don't think there's any fading to be done in that bottom matchup. Like, I'll take Chris Buescher. Buescher, like I said, he's been top forward a lot of times as well. But Chris Bell has been sneaky. He got top 10 on a road course after being pulled out from the car, Elliot.
He's been sneaky, but the odds there on MGM, plus 140 for Buescher, minus 200 for Bell. I'm on the Chris Buescher there at plus 140. You have it, considering it at plus 150 on DraftKings, which is even better. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's an unnecessary fade of Bell. Maybe he's proving that the risk is not that big a deal. But it's just as much having positivity in Buescher. I mean, you've got the top Ford. I think that, it could be a case where, of course, the Gibbs cars are going to be good, but Buescher having a good day, they could both run top 10. Buescher could run, 8th and Bell 9th, and you win the matchup. Yeah.
This is one that's probably worth investing in. I think it's probably the best number on the board that you're going to find for an underdog here, because, I mean, our projections, we have Chris Buescher. This is like only race you factor in the risk with Pocono, and that's such a small percentage of this that Buescher's 6th and Bell's down there in 9th, but the gap isn't huge, right? Chris Buescher and Bell, when it comes to finishes, this far this season, Chris Bell on the primary comps, 4th at Vegas, 20th at Kansas, 2nd at Charlotte, right? Chris Buescher, 6th there at Vegas, and then you go to Kansas 10th, and then 30th at Charlotte. So 1 and 2 against him. That's really what. But then you elongate that out to those other comps. Chris Buescher actually comes out on top. So it's a nitty gritty one, probably one of the closer ones on the entire card this weekend. But I don't hate the Buescher number. I'm going to try to wait because I think Bell could qualify well, depending on the grouping is and where he goes out on Saturday. But then maybe I wait, try to use a little boost on Bet365 or Bet Rivers or something, and try to boost this up, maybe get even closer 2-1.
Yeah, man, that would be nice. I am excited for this to move back onto Atlanta. Last year, I had a bet on pretty much every matchup with Atlanta in the first round. I will have a bet on every matchup when we get to Atlanta. It's a lot easier when it's 4 instead of 16 or whatever. But in any case, let's head to the bottom right, the Southeast region. We were expecting this one as well. Byron over Stenhouse, pretty simple. Yeah, chalk. Larson over Herbst, an easy one. Setting up the Hendrick grudge match, Byron versus Larson, at a place where we think both of these guys could potentially be able to win this race, if not run really strong. Also, chalk on the bottom. Poor Ryan Preece had no shot against SVG, and Josh Berry wasn't his worst day on a road course, but Ryan Blaney's still able to outduel him. The Blaney, I mean, we don't even need to really discuss it. Blaney minus 450, SVG plus 290 would be a real shocker for SVG to get this done. He would need the Fords to really suck and for him to really qualify well and hold on to it. Byron and Larson is more interesting here, especially because Byron is plus 160 with Larson minus 220. If I didn't have so much faith in Larson, I'm on the outright, I'm on the top 5, I would really consider going Byron here.
Yeah, I like both of them. Like, this is a spot for William Byron. Like, I think either one of them could win this race, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be shocked if Byron made it through. The way he's been looking, the way he lines up in our projections, coming in fourth, Larson in second. I mean, for my sake, I got that Larson outright on the tournament at plus 850. I think he's got a great chance to get there if he can skate through this round. So I like a little young money here, but I understand going the other way. I would have loved to see SVG get matched up with someone other than Ryan Blaney, who actually hasn't been like amazing at these comps so far this season. Like we talked about it earlier on the main show, like Penske, not where they need to be, I think, on the intermediates right now, but SVG actually 11th in average qualifying position at primary comp tracks this season. The momentum average finish over the last 6. He is 6th in that too, and that's only one good road course finish and another bad one. So he's actually been running really good coming into this too. So I think this is a little more live than giving credit for. But it would probably take like a Blaney pit crew issue or something like that, which we have seen before, my friend.
Yeah, but it's one of those where everything has to go right for the 97 and a lot has to go wrong for the 12. Either way, the odds kind of make it a no bet. So that's where the bracket stands heading into the Chicagoland weekend. Let's take a look at how our brackets that we submitted are looking. We'll start off with mine. And man, the tough part is having that Zane Smith run all the way to the final. We've wiped that out. Of course, I don't think anybody was expecting the 48 to beat the 45. I'm sure that's why there's no perfect brackets left, because I'm sure nobody had Alex. So that wipes out the 45 for a couple of rounds too. But generally, I mean, I had the 34 over the 7. I don't really know why I picked that, but I'm glad it worked out. The good old Southwest quadrant there I hit perfectly, as well as the Southeast. It's the North that was giving me a little more trouble. Had the Fade of Bell, didn't work, and had the 22 over the 43, didn't work. So my little Chastain run doesn't play. But other than Zane Smith, man, I feel like my bracket looks pretty good. Still have my champion, most importantly, in Blaney.
Yeah, hey, could be worse, right? You still got a couple big dogs out there. I tried to kind of take a similar approach to I did last year, calling a bunch of round 1 upsets, and did not play out that well. When we move on to my bracket, as you can see, like just the entire West region, absolutely, torch for me, whether that's the North or whether that's the South. I had Reddick making it a little bit further. I still had him getting knocked off at some point, but I thought it'd be Danny Suarez who would do it to him. I thought, hey, a little Zane Smith action over Hocevar did not go my way. Picked both Gibbs guys getting upset in the first round. That was stupid. Chase Elliott, though, still in to make potential deep runs. So don't feel terrible about that. And I still think if Larson can get through here, like I like him at Atlanta. He's been good at super speedways, despite what the critics like to say at some point. So I like having him there. I like having Chris Buescher locked and loaded too, and he's like on a pretty good projection. Like if he can beat Chris, I feel better if that was Ross this week. That was kind of the Chris, because I also have the outright on Chris Buescher to win the tournament, I think at 20-1. And part of the fade there was like, okay, you can beat JHN and then you're going up against Ross. Now it's a little bit tighter in the second round going against Bell. So I don't feel as great about that. So yeah, I kind of feel like shit about this whole bracket, if I'm being honest. Larson's the only thing keeping me out there, honestly, that makes me feel good about it, man.
And you look at some of these potential matchups. We both have the 5 versus the 12 at Atlanta, and that could be one of the matchups of the entire tournament, because I do feel like they both will run up front, and very well could decide. Obviously we both have our champions in there, but just in general could really decide the paths of Denny Hamlin if he continues on, your Bushes of the world, whoever. Chase Elliott has to feel really good about making it all the way to the final now. If he can get whichever Gibbs car he would potentially have to then face in Atlanta, which again, he's the defending winner at Atlanta. So we'll talk more about Chase Elliott here in a little bit, though. Before we get to those bets, we want to talk about some fun stuff going on in Canton, Ohio in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's going to be a blast. It always is out there for draft night out July 25th. Consider on coming out to the great city of Canton, Ohio. I always say it's like stepping into a time machine. Nothing about the old school vibes hurt one bit. It's all about football, pro football hall of fames out there. A ton of fantasy football handicappers, NFL betting handicappers, college football betting people are going to be out there. So it's a great time for you. And we're gonna have a live draft party at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, at Jersey's. And if you want to come draft with us, 200 of our closest fantasy football friends, this is the event for you. We're gonna have a shot wheel spinning. Songs will be a singing. Elliot will be working his ass off as usual, but I'm going to be having fun doing all the giveaways, doing everything that we got going on in between. We're also running a hashtag Weekenders special right now. That's right. You can now get 10% off when you order both your Draft Night Out and IBT Classic tickets together. That's our golf scramble the day before. So we got golf the day before. We got a fantasy football live draft the day after, Elliot. I don't think it gets any better than that for a weekend, my friend. It's going to be a lot of good times. I'm sure we'll be watching some NASCAR races, try to get them on if they overlap with the time as well in the bar there. But it's going to be a blast, man. Always is.
Man, and who knows, might even have a little Backroad live from Canton, Ohio. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like live event. That'd be maybe next year. We'll have to throw that in the triple weekender.
Get your truck Xfinity and a little cup race there on Sunday. Yeah, in-betweenmedia.com/shop. That is where you can find all those tickets and maybe more in the future as well.
Really hoping to see out there. If you need some extra money, you can tell these couple of bets that I've got rolling in our parking garage props.
Yeah, let's fire that up. A little PGP.
So I was chatting about it a couple of minutes ago. I am on the Chase Elliott out right now to win the in-season challenge at 6-1. He's got the most favorable path forward. The toughest matchup would be the winner of the 19 or the 54 heading into Atlanta. You look at Wilkesboro, if he's able to get by that, you would have the winner of the 48, the 2, the 34, and the 77. And I'm not worried about any of those four guys at Wilkesboro with how we've seen Hendrick and Chase Elliott run there. Indy sounds favorable enough in the final, probably going to face one of the 11, the 24, the 5, and the 12. Of course, when you make it to the final, it's going to be tough. It's like when you go to the Super Bowl, the other team you're going to face, you might think you're better than them, but it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be, Super Bowl, World Series, in-season challenge final. You'll never have those compared to the same sentence again. But, I mean, if Chase Elliott can make it all the way there, of course, Atlanta Super Speedway, you can never fully bank on it.
Good at Atlanta, though. Hometown boy.
Who's the defending winner of the Atlanta Summer Race was Chase Elliott. Always has that feel-good story of running the car that's designed by the children. Was able to win with that last year, and at least should do well enough to beat whatever Gibbs guy he'll have to face, assuming he can make it past this week. So 6-1. Give me a little Chase Elliott here.
This might be a tail. This might be I'm so mad at myself because I had Chase Elliott going to my Final Four, and I placed a bet on all the other Final Four guys. Not Chase Elliott, though. But 6-1 still after a full round. I'm in.
Yeah, 6-1 is a little shorter than I would have liked, but you only pay the juice if you lose. And I'm hoping I don't have to worry about that because I do have a nice little parlay run in BetMGM. I picked the winners of all 8 matchups. BetMGM had a little parlay boost for me. Got this 30-1. So here are the drivers that I picked. And it's tough because MGM doesn't let you parlay a lot of the stuff, but they have all the in-season challenge matchups. And
no way.
Parlayed them together, had a 25% odds boost. So got it up to 30-1. So I have the 48, the 77 of Hocevar, the 9 of Chase Elliott, 17 of Chris Buescher. So that's maybe a bit of an upset. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, 5 of Kyle Larson over the 24, 12 of Blaney, and the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Those are my 8 winners.
No, that is exactly who I would pick in all. That's exactly who I'm taking in all those matchups. No way.
Tail, see if you got that same boost because
MGM doesn't think I'm a person still. So
I put it into FanDuel and it gave me like 24-1. And then I remembered I had that boost. It was like 26-1 generally. And then I boosted it up to just over 30-1 here. These 8-way parlays are ridiculous, but I feel really good about 6 of them. And then 2 of them I kind of picked, their pick'ems, flip a coin.
Yeah.
524 and the 1954.
You could
And
even
I
like
like the way it's going.
arbitrage yourself a little bit too. Like you just have to hope like no one's engine blows or anything like, you know what I mean? That's kind of what you're betting against here. But like you could even do that exact same parlay and then just like flop out Bell and Buescher in one or flop out Gibbs and Briscoe. Like those are like the real testers, right? Like I kind of believe in Alex Bowman, I think a little bit more than most people. Obviously you do as well, but there's 3 testers, right? And the rest of them are just going to come down to like pretty much like these people need to run how they're supposed to run. So yeah, good workout here though, in the streets. You're a little light, kept it light in the first round on the betting card. And I think for good reason, man, because looking pretty good here tonight. I like the plays.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We are continuing to go heavier in the in-season challenge. Like I said, next week we can look forward to Atlanta, where we're going to be down into the quarterfinals, and we're going to really get the chaos. That summer race last year at Atlanta, one of the best races, one of the better finishes, trading the lead back and forth, just an unbelievable race. I mean, it'll be even more unbelievable, assuming we don't have a crash take out, 3/5 of the field like it did last year and all of the favorites. Still going to be just as entertaining, and we hope you come along for the ride with us as the in-season challenge continues.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. Always great to see NASCAR continuing to innovate the space. I don't care if the drivers like it. I don't care if the old school fans like it. I like it. The betting card gives us one more thing to talk about each and every single week. So very grateful for that. And just such a fun sport, man. And very blessed for your company as well to, help give me some good gainers, like a little Chase Elliott out on the outright. And again, I like the parlay too. Like, shooters shoot here, right? Like, we're getting to the back half of the season. I don't know how many more times we're going to get to do stuff like this.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. I'll need those parlay winnings for when I pick the wrong side of all 4 of the matchups in Atlanta. We can't wait to talk about that then. Thanks for your company as well. We'll see you next time on the Backroad.